Welcome. I'm Martin Kuppinger. I'm principal analyst at KuppingerCole Analysts. And I'm here with Andrew Budd of iProof to talk about his perspectives on the future of digital identity and what he feels is most important. So, Andrew, welcome.
It's great to be here, Martin. It's a really interesting conference because it's a very particular and very expert perspective on what's happening in identity. One of the key themes is the incredible importance of digital identity in workforce management. The challenges created by the creation and onboarding and management of employees, some of whom enterprises may never have met.
And partners. And
Along the supply
partner things, yes. We're living in a world of work from anywhere, which means I think since years we are in a situation where a lot of people never touch ground in the enterprise anymore.
And this creates two problems. One is how can you securely access documentary evidence, biographic information about somebody, so that you know a coherent set of identity attributes about this is you're a worker or a supply chain worker, and then how can you securely find that to the human being that is actually that you're actually going to be allowing into the innermost secrets of your system. So how do you get the attributes and how do you bind them to the human being?
And how do you do that in a convenient manner? I think that's the other side. So without having someone walk to an office kilometers away, but to do it seamless in this changing world, I think this is definitely one of the huge challenges, because in the end, all we do later on depends on is this really Martin. So if we say, okay, we have a good process of granting access to Martin, but it's not Martin, then we're in trouble. So,
and I think the market is beginning to understand just what a tremendous threat there is from such identities that were set up for Martin, not by Martin, because the lifetime value to an attacker of such a controlled false identity is enormous, and therefore the resources and the intensity with which they will seek to subvert that process, I think people are beginning to understand. And of course, the rapid evolution of AI making it more and more feasible for attackers successfully to do so.
Yeah, so when you say buying, you brought up this. So the one thing is I verify. The other thing is you buy. So what do you mean specifically by that?
So a digital identity to me is a set of facts about a person. And obviously it's really important to make sure that these facts are true and all relate to the single individual. But all they are is a set of facts, and trust that an enterprise has to give someone doesn't reside in the facts. That trust resides in a human being and what goes on between our ears. So at some point there is an absolutely crucial moment when you bind that set of facts about a person to the human beings to whom they relate. So there's a link which is, when it's remote, must inevitably be done by biometrics. And if that process can be subverted, and it can be subverted, then what you will get is an enemy attacker seizing control of what is otherwise a potentially completely coherent set of facts about a person who could have tremendous levels of rights as well.
How do you prevent this from happening?
So biometrics is obviously the means by which you check what the person looks like, what they should do, because in reality, the only thing today that binds a set of credible facts to a human being is the photo on their government-issued ID. That's the tenuous link. So the first thing you obviously have to do is to make sure that they look like their photo ID, but that's not the risk point. The point of risk is, are you actually looking at a genuine person who... So you see an image, perhaps a moving and talking image, that looks like the photo ID, but how do you know they're real? So the root of trust in all of this is the ability to ensure that the apparently present human being who looks like the photo in the photo ID, which associates with all the rest of the attributes, is genuine present person. And that is the hardest technical problem in the entire identity ecosystem.
Okay. How to fix it?
So there are two. In a nutshell, two things. One is you have to create a one-time biometric.
Yeah.
Because anything that isn't one-time can be studied and broken. So somehow you have to create a one-time biometric. And there are various ways you can do it. You can get people to recite random numbers, or as in our case, you use a unique sequence of controlled illumination to illuminate their face with a rapidly changing sequence of colors that cannot be predicted. And interacting with the environment produces a signal that an attacker cannot credibly create. The second thing you do is that you have like any decent cybersecurity system, you have a biometric security operations center, which is monitoring what's going on and looking for new modes of attack.
Yes.
It's every cybersecurity system, like an antivirus system, has a back end. It is bizarre to me that iFear is the only biometrics company in the world that runs a back end security operations center.
Okay, great. I think that is very valuable. And I think I fully with you. We need to get better in this. We need to make it more. We need to make it work safely. Always looking at what is the level of assurance we need.
I mean, the challenge, a lot of what we're hearing now, a lot of what we're hearing in authentication, all of what we're hearing, for example, in decentralized identity, of which we are huge fans, places huge reliance on the device. The problem is people's devices are getting stolen. People's devices are getting lost. People's devices are getting changed. And there is an incredible moment of risk when you lose the assurance that you've always relied on a device. And people kind of go,
And I think that's the point, yes. Everything that doesn't allow me to work across many devices and to switch devices is not good.
That's why cloud-based, the kind of cloud-based biometrics that we deliver is so much more flexible, powerful, and secure than any form of the device-based biometrics, which in the end are just an extension of that device factor.
Andrew, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and taking your time. Pleasure to talk to you.
It's nice to see you again, Martin.